With that, I'd like to turn it over to Diana. We just wanted to have her just kind of spend a minute on just what her experience has been with getting back to work and kind of getting the organizations up and running again. Are you on, Diana?
Hello, everyone.
Hello, Diana.
Hello.
Thank you for joining us today.
Of course. So getting back to work, and especially here in Arizona, I'm sure a lot of companies are, in the process. We've been open for about a month now, but they're probably thinking maybe not we will open our offices, given that in the last few days we're seeing news out there that the hospitals are filling up to 100% capacity, and that we've had a huge uptick in cases and positive COVID cases. So I'm sure that will be a big piece of what people are thinking of as we go through this process. So on the next slide. So just some things as we are going through all of this, just as a reminder, not just all the workplace safety things of masks and temperature checks and cleaning and sanitation things that we need to think of, but also that recall process and what does it look like when we're returning people? How are we returning them? Is it a phased approach? Are we going to continue to just allow teleworking? And it's probably smart that if you can continue to telecommunicate and do remote work, to allow that to continue to happen. But as you're working through these thoughts and through this plan and creating your return to work guidelines and your return to work plan, thinking about how you will, as an organization, respond to employees who push back and say, I'm not comfortable coming back because of this uptick in cases, or I can't because of childcare or whatever it might be. So making sure that you're really thinking through those processes and those pieces as well as you're going through this process. As well as on the other side with the next slide, looking at all the potential liabilities that we have to think about and making sure that you have all of your documentation in place that protects you as an employer, making sure that your employee handbook is up to date, that your classifications of your employees are correct, especially with the remote workers. And if you've got non-exempt employees that are remote working, how you're tracking their time, how you're dealing with overtime if that's happening while they're working from home. Managing training processes, not just of harassment and discrimination, but as you're returning to work, safety concerns in the office. So are you doing trainings, or are you talking to your employees about hand washing and cleanliness and managing that process as well? And then also your emergency response plans, and how are you going to make sure that people are safe and secure, and if someone is sick at the office, how do you manage that process, and what do you do when someone either calls you and says, I've been tested positive, and how you manage that communication with your staff while ensuring employee privacy and ensuring that all of that is happening on a day-to-day basis. So there's a lot of things to really think about through this process. We are helping our clients work through this process every day, and am available to do so with everyone as well. On the next slide is our top 10 list. So just a reminder, don't rush into this process by opening too quickly. There's nothing that says just because the state is open that we have to open our businesses. So make sure that it manages and makes that it works for your organization. As we've continued to say, communicate, communicate, communicate. Over communicate with your staff. Do surveys and find out where your employees are feeling. Number 4, find out what matters to your employees. Listen to their concerns, find out where they are and how they're feeling through all of this process. You know, follow the guidelines that are being provided by the CDC and OSHA, Department of Labor, and our state and local authorities. Again, allowing employees to continue to communicate whenever, telecommute whenever possible. Reviewing those policies and those handbooks, making sure things are up to date. Make sure you've got policies in place. If you are telecommuting and you haven't put one in place, it's probably time to look at that and figure out what we're doing. You know, train your employees, making sure they're aware of what to do with response procedures, what to do, let your supervisors know what to do if they have an employee that calls them and says, I'm sick, and then not tell their entire staff who it is or what's happening, to manage those workplace privacy rules around that as well. And as we said, and as I think Matt used it easier, water, sand, it's all very fluid right now. So just make sure that we are adjusting as we need to, staying on top of everything as we can. You know, employers, we're not excused as employers from the existing employment law. So making sure that we are staying up to date on Arizona sick time law, as well as the FFCRA laws, and taking care of that we're following all of those things. And last but not least, you know, be human, and that we are all in this together, that we are all supporting each other and helping each other and being kind to each other and showing each other a little bit of grace during all of this process and all of this time with everything going on in the world today.
Yeah, that's
5-minute spiel.
That is an important statement, though. I've just noticed, speaking with a lot of our clients, just kind of on their experience and what, you know, is happening with inside their organizations. It seems just a lot of it is, you know, putting employees at ease to some degree. You know, reducing anxiety. That's probably a better way of saying it. You know, we don't anticipate that we're closing our office. However, if, you know, we have this exposure, then these are the steps that we're going to take, so there's no surprises. And right, so it's yeah.
Yeah, it's really about that communication and making sure that we are doing everything we can to keep our employees in the loop of what's happening, and
right.
or what we don't know what's happening, but that we're working through it, and that we're doing our best to keep our employees safe and healthy.
Right. Well, thank you, Diana. I think that was very valuable just to kind of bring back in, because it's been a few weeks since we've had that conversation.